So my expectations for Hitachi NEXT were that we would upscale the conversations we're having with our customers. That we've got a lot of new product announcements coming out and some pretty impressive stuff, and that's good. Customers are much more interested in case studies and use cases. They want to know what other people have done and what's worked, and equally important, what hasn't worked. In the area of big data, in the area of IoT, in the area of analytics from an AI and machine learning perspective, there's a lot of failures out there. And failures aren't bad, as long as we're learning from them. And I think what customers come to expect out of a session here like Next and from us is not just the good news, but also the bad news, right? The things that we need to help them understand so they can be successful. So it's easy. This is a very easy. Biggest mistake that everybody makes is they don't think about the business first. So I'm the Chief Technology Officer of IoT and Analytics. And if you looked in the dictionary for the picture of the worst Chief Technology Officer, you'd find my picture. I'm a terrible technology officer. I don't care about technology. I think we spend too much time infatuated with technology, and there's a much more important word that we learn. There's a much more important word that we drive business value from, and that's the word economics. And so I think as an industry and across all those big data, IoT, AI, machine learning, is that we don't spend enough time talking about how am I going to derive and drive new sources of customer product and operational value using those technologies. What we're seeing is a catastrophic number of data lake failures. Not that the technology didn't work, right? Technology worked just fine. A catastrophic failure from the sense that we didn't provide any value to our customers. And so I think that across any of these new technologies, and I'm going to say it for quantum computing and for blockchain, all these new technologies, it's okay to bring the technologies in and get familiar with it to build some expertise, but when you go to try to operationalize it, you need to understand how you're going to create value from it. And if you can't create value from it, then back up and start over again. Predicted that big data and data lake would throttle the growth of data warehouses, and I think it has. Data warehouses suffered from a real lack of alignment to the business, and it suffered from the fact that reporting of the business adds no value. Reporting on the business tells you what happened. It doesn't tell you what's likely to happen. It doesn't tell you what action to take. It doesn't tell you how to prevent stuff. And so I think what we're seeing in my books, I think call it out pretty clearly, is that the organizations that we're going to have the most success in this space, we're going to be those organizations that learn to move from an environment that focused on reporting to one that sought to focus on predictions, prescriptions, preventative actions. But what is most powerful about the big data, and the reason why I think we had to go through these learning curves, is because big data is the foundation for machine learning and AI. If we didn't have big data, we probably wouldn't have had these dramatic increases in the effectiveness of a lot of these deep learning capabilities. The ability for to recognize cancer. That's an interesting number. I didn't know it was as low as 5%. I'm kind of encouraged by that. And that sounds weird, given somebody like me who's been in the industry so long trying to evangelize it. You would say, Schmarzo, you've been a huge failure. Only 5% of the world is getting value out of data, and you keep talking about it. But I think the good news is with frustration and failure comes learning. These organizations, if only 5%, it means 95% haven't gotten value. And I would hope that there is some business pressure that's being put on the IT organization to monetize this data. And so there is less than 5%. It might only be 5 companies total in the world who have grasped the economic impact and are doing everything they can, not only to to figure out how to refine and curate and reuse that data, but they're also building analytics that are reusable and they can grow, and they're not building one-off orphaned analytics, they're building analytics as packages that they can use over and over again, much the same way they're using their data. So when you can reframe how you think about data and analytics to thinking about it less as a cost to be managed and more as an asset to be monetized, that's when organizations flip. And it's as simple as that. You could think the industry is going a long ways, and I would be surprised if a year from now, if that number 5% isn't at least closer to 10. We're never going to get to 100. But here's an interesting thing, if I can be so provocative. We might get to 100 because the companies that don't do this are going to go away. So you're spot on in that success cases breed success, right? If everybody wants to they want to see somebody else do it first. And then no one wants to be that first mover because it's risky, it's scary. And these companies are all looking for that silver bullet. What's that secret use case I should go after? And here's the sad news. There is no silver bullet. That use case that motivates change is different for every organization. We find that most data science, big data, IoT initiatives fail because of passive aggressive behavior in the organization. Wow. That there is an executive who was not involved in the process, who you need to have involved, and when it comes time for their support, they're just not interested in doing that. Nothing to do with technology, not a thing. But it's the organizational challenges, it's the cultural challenges, it's that mindset challenge. And then if you have the right mindset, the technology, I want to say, is the easy part, but it's easier then once you have the right mindset. I've seen how social media started off as being a really good thing, and then social media got weaponized and got turned against us. There will be nefarious people and enemy states who are going to use this against us. I predict we're going to see it in the next election. That we'll see. They had in the last U.S. election, I think, the nefarious organizations and these enemy states disrupted the U.S. election, and possibly the one in UK as well, and other places as well. And it worries me. I'm not worried about robots, that Terminator's going to come and take my life. I worry about the inability for people to think critically about what they're seeing. We're very susceptible to digital manipulation, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. It impacts it every day, right? Every time I go to Amazon, it tells me what food I should probably buy. Every time I turn on Netflix, it recommends movies for me. I'm married, so I better not go to eHarmony. But there's all these organizations, all these people are being exposed, whether it's through Google or Yahoo or Netflix or to recommendations where these organizations are learning more and more about our interests, our passions, our affiliations, our associations, and are using that to hopefully do good. Some cases at Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, Palantir, not good. But I think we're going to see more and more of that. I think we're going to see when you fire up a GPS system, it tells you what route to take. So it has slowly permeated our organization, our lives, and for the most part, it's been good. I think what's interesting from an IoT perspective is how do we leverage what we're learning from consumer behaviors and how to make recommendations to apply those same behavioral analytics to devices. Because wind turbines, clutches, compressors, chillers, they all develop behaviors too. They don't suffer the same kind of craziness that humans do, but they do have behaviors. And so I think you're going to see that those ideas of recommendations that we see in our day-to-day life also permeate the world of IoT.